What's up, my friends? Thank you so much for joining me for another video. Today's video is going to be a little different. We had technical difficulties, unfortunately, filming Alien, and we tried to salvage the footage, but it didn't work out. I've been saying it in live streams leading up to the video's release. We tried really hard to process the footage, get the audio and the video to work, as well as the rest of them are, for you guys to get the best possible quality, and it wasn't able to work out, unfortunately. We still want to talk about Alien though, so we're gonna just discuss what parts of the movie Ash really enjoyed, and hopefully you guys are okay with that. We pray that we figured it out. I think we did. It was a problem with the microphone. I had just gotten a new microphone, and my camera is a little bit more intuitive than I'm used to, so it went ahead and tried to fix the settings on its own immediately when I plugged the mic in, instead of letting me control it. So I kind of just on a whim was like, let's go. I should have researched it more, but I didn't, unfortunately. So hopefully now it works out great. So with all that out of the way, Ash. No pun intended, because you now know that there's an Ash in the story. What did you like Alien? What do you think about it? What did you think about watching the first one?
It definitely wasn't what I expected. I did really like it. I thought it was really great. I can see why a lot of other films have taken from this movie. So I can definitely see how this movie has influenced movie culture now, as opposed to, like, this was what, like 1979, something like that. So yeah. It was like 1980s. So it was like, it's one of those movies that I could see as it just being just so influential and so, like, timeless. I definitely loved a lot of the special effects that they used. I thought that was so awesome and so cool. There's a lot of, like, gotcha scenes in there, especially with the cat. I think the darn cat was, that darn cat was horrible. It made me jump many times with the cat. And there's one scene that I knew it wasn't going to be the alien. I think it was the locker scene, where they're like, at that point they had the machine that could tell them if anything was moving or not, and so they hone on to that. I think it was a locker or something. Yeah, it was a locker. It was that scene where they clearly used a net that the holes in the net were big enough for the cat to go through, and even for the xenomorph to go through anyway. But whatever. I get it. The net. It was the purpose of the net, not really the semantics of it, I guess. Yeah. But you pretty much had a really interesting, like, point that I didn't even think about, and I totally have been overlooking, being an Alien fan for years now. How did the cat get into that locker? When you said that, when you're like, wait a minute, how'd the cat get into the locker? I was like, how did the cat get into the locker? I mean, the lockers looked pretty intuitive. I mean, I couldn't see a handle or a latch or anything, so it must have been either automated or remote controlled somehow. So I can only imagine that the cat must know how to work with computers, and Cat was like, nope, forget this. I think it was a plot device. It was just something that they used to just try and scare the audience, which I get it, but at the same time I thought it was kind of a little cheap trick, even though I knew it was going to be the cat, so that part didn't scare me. But the first time that they used the cat definitely scared me. Whenever they were in the, I don't remember where they were at, they're some part of the ship that was really creepy and dark and dank and gross.
Oh yeah, like, pretty much the whole movie.
Pretty much the whole movie, yeah. So anyway, I thought that was really great.
As far as going into it, for those of you that don't know, Ashley had only ever seen this. Ashley had only ever she had only ever seen the chestburster scene, or knew about it because of a film class, right? Yes.
I took a film class in college, and it detailed it. It's kind of funny. It actually detailed that entire scene. Now, I had only watched it maybe once or twice for my film class, so I didn't really, like, watching it the first time, it was so weird because I was not expecting the chestburster to, like, have that crunch as it came out of the chest, like it.
Yeah. That is something you actually talked about in length when we finished watching it, was the sound effects, and how, just like, kind of like Star Wars, if you watch Star Wars, I've heard this many times, if you watch Star Wars with no audio, the movies are not as impactful as they are with it. The score really translates its work. It works with Jaws, it works with Jurassic Park. Without all these sound effects in these movies, you kind of lose the immersion, I think, to a degree, especially when it's a suspense movie like Alien. So when you made that point about, oh, it sounds so bad, the crunch of the chestburster coming out, I never thought about it until you said I never thought that the sound was so significant, because for me, the scene had no sound until my God, what's her name? I forget her name right now.
Yeah.
I know the names by heart, but I forget. When she's like, "Oh my God," you know, that's like
such an icon. I think a lot of stuff is like I like watching it now. I could see where there's a lot of things where people have taken fun of, like made fun of the movie for that. I know the chestburster scene is one of them. I mean, there's even a scene in Spaceballs, which yes, I'm a huge nerd. I love Spaceballs. There's a scene in Spaceballs where they eat the soup and the xenomorph comes out.
Oh yeah.
And it comes out and like it's like tap dances across. Anyway, I digress. But moving on. You know, so I could see where they would make fun of that, like where her screaming and stuff.
Yeah.
Her scream is so unique. I've never heard that scream in anything else. And I know for a fact that particular scene was super candid, because the only people that knew that the chestburster was going to come out like that was the dude that was, well, like I don't remember what his name is.
John Hurt.
Yeah, John Hurt.
Yeah.
John Hurt's character. And the person that was controlling the puppet, the head actually came out.
Yeah.
So those are the only. Oh, and the director, of course.
And the cameraman.
Yeah, and the cameraman. The people that were actually involved filming it,
Right.
but the rest of the cast had no idea.
Yeah.
So I love that was all candid, and that was all just kind of like, holy crap. And then kind of going on that scene though, I thought like some inconsistencies that I thought were kind of weird. I don't know if you wanted to segue into that at all.
What?
Like just like talking about how I just thought it was really weird that as soon as it came out, they didn't know. I'm thinking of a different part. Like whenever the face hugger part came off of him, and it came through, and they're like, no, don't. Oh no, thinking of the.
You're talking about whenever like when the xenomorph, when the baby xenomorph, the chestburster came out and like looked and no one reacted. Yeah.
Yes, like no one reacted to that, and I'm like, kill it. What are you doing? Like. I feel like Floridians, whenever we see palmetto bugs, like that's our first instinct is kill it right then.
Yep, kill it dead.
So kill it dead. So the fact that they didn't, and we're talking like a little cockroach here, like the fact that they didn't kill that thing, it literally just came out of their friend, their co-worker, like there's no way that anybody in that ship would have just stood there. It just was super weird.
It scurried across. It was
yeah, and it just like ran away. I'm like, no one's gonna go after it? Like what happened there? Like that makes no sense. So that part, I was kind of like, I don't know about that. But I guess if you think about it, like the shock of that happening, I mean, would you do that if that actually happened? I don't know. Probably not.
I mean, as far as like going back to what you said about the whole candid aspect of that scene, Lambert, that's her name, Lambert. There you go. I knew I had to remember. She was really like horrified, and that goes not to draw a parallel to Star Wars, because I can always draw a parallel to Star Wars, but it's the same thing as like what happened with James Earl Jones, you know, and I think him and George Lucas were the only ones who knew that the line was, you know, Luke, I am your father, and then of course everyone was like, huh, you know, and whether the logic behind it is to sell the scene better, which I can only imagine with Alien, it definitely was, because it was so ambiguous. The movie had no tropes really that it was following. It was its very own thing. It was a movie that was designed to just be, hey, we're gonna make this movie about what it's like to be in space in, you know, the future, you know. So it's crazy that even by today's standards, most sci-fi movies, the future has already happened. So like it's either like 2001: A Space Odyssey or you know stuff like that. So now it's like Alien is still in the future. I think it takes place in like 2070 or something like that, 2030 or something like that.
I think so. I think it's like not that far away. It's like 2036 or something like that.
Yeah.
I think it says at the beginning. I may say it up there, I'm not sure, but.
Yeah, it's crazy that like it's not that far from now, but then again, it's still not, like it still hasn't happened. So it still gives you that belief of like when you were a kid and you're like, oh, in the future we're gonna have flying cars and we're gonna have robots that help us, which we're kind of there already, but still, you know what I mean? It gives you that sense of
like what if?
Yeah, like this.
What if?
Exactly. Yeah, like the sense that the future is gonna be exactly that, like futuristic and stuff like that. So, moving on from the chestburster scene, I know there were a couple other scenes that made us laugh, made you laugh, and by, you know, in turn made me laugh, just because it was kind of cheesy, and the camp is there, so definitely there.
I mean, it's the 80s. I mean, of course, most 80s films have a little bit of camp in them. There's not a movie out there from the 80s that I think doesn't have have some type of camp to it.
True.
At some point or another.
And that's what we love them because of that. I mean, that's the nostalgia factor that we look at it now. I mean, we watched Evil Dead. I know you weren't with us, but we watched Evil Dead on Holden's channel for My Friend Watches, and I think all of us unanimously agreed and acknowledged the fact that it was a camp fest. You know, Sam Raimi's one of the best, but I mean, it was a camp fest. You know, and it's what makes it rewatchable. It's what makes it relatable. It's what makes it something that you can share with someone that hasn't seen it. So the same thing is with Alien. I mean, Alien 1 is really pretty much the camp fest, in my opinion, from what I remember. It might be different now when we watch the rest of them because I haven't seen them in years. But I know that Alien 1, like we talked about that when the xenomorphs in the shaft. And,
oh yeah. So they're in one of the characters that's in the shaft. It's the main. I guess you want to call him the main guy, Dallas.
Captain Dallas.
He was the captain, and he was in the shaft, and we all knew that he was gonna die. We knew it was coming, and you saw it, like the two little dots were coming after each other, which, you know, I have to, like, going on your thing about the tropes. Yeah. I feel like this movie started the tropes.
For a lot of them, it definitely did the whole, you know, where is it? Oh, it's right on top of you, kind of. Yeah. It was definitely. I could be wrong, but I'm 99% positive this is the first movie that explored the whole it's right on top of you kind of thing.
Yeah. So okay, so moving on from that, so. You could definitely see that it was going to be on top of them, but the scene that was funny, it made me laugh. Like, what did I say? I said, like, oh, give me a hug, because at one point you see the xenomorph and he's like this, and he's definitely about to grab the guy, and you can tell that it's a person that's in a costume that is going like this, like, rah!
You see the fingers are not like claws anymore?
Yeah, like you can definitely tell that it is definitely a person that's in a xenomorph costume, which is... It definitely took me away from it a little bit because I think my first reaction to that was like, oh, he wants a hug.
Yeah, that's exactly what you said. You were like, that's what I said. You're like, oh, he wants a hug. Another thing that, as far as like suspension of disbelief and just not realistic, I'm not an astronaut, but I am pretty positive that anything flammable does not belong in space, and I think that NASA is big on that. You know, nothing flammable, nothing like aerosol cans, obviously, like no wood. I think The Martian taught us that you're not allowed to have wood. You know, when Matt Damon had the crucifix and he was using it to make you know, he's like, I'm sorry, it's personal items. You know, he kind of snuck in the crucifix that was made out of wood. So the fact that they had flamethrowers.
they fashioned it. Flamethrower. Well, they didn't actually have one.
No, I think the flamethrowers were actually like Army issued or issued by Wayland, you know, because they didn't make the flamethrowers. What they made was the detector, and they made like the a couple other things. They didn't make the flamethrowers because I think there were two of them, because like I don't think they ever recovered, or they may have, I don't remember, but I don't think they ever recovered Captain Dallas's flamethrower. I think when Ripley had it, that was just one that was in inventory. Maybe. So and I mean, they looked.
No, that makes sense.
They looked pretty much like from the factory. Like they had the you know, the can of, you know. I don't know how they made theirs, but it didn't look like it was like MacGyvered into the movie. So I don't understand. It was like, oh, you know what? You're out of space and fire's okay. I mean, maybe in the future, fire's fine in space. But if any of you guys are training to be astronauts or know more about physics than I do, please let me know in the comments below what you think. Am I just making fun of something that's not funny? Is it fine? Let me know. Yeah, we can talk a lot about this movie in depth. So I think we're going to wrap it up just because we really want to get going to filming Aliens. I think we're going to film it immediately after this video because we're in the Alien vibe again. It's been a couple weeks since the failure of recording the first one, unfortunately. If I am ever able to salvage that footage via some new app or some new form of technology, I will definitely have it available, and I will make it some sort of video for you guys to see, you know, her initial jumps and her initial reactions to the jump scares, because they were there. She was not expecting any of it. After watching it the first time, we tried watching it again, and I didn't want to cheat you guys. I didn't want to go and say, well, my wife watches Alien for the first time, and it was technically the second time, and then she's like, oh, I was supposed to be scared in this. I didn't want to do that because you guys are my family. You know, I want to keep you guys in the loop. I want to be 100% transparent. So I'm glad I was able to, you know, make this video, and I hope that you guys are, you know, receptive of it, because it really does suck that we couldn't do it, because it was the first video for My Wife Watches. You guys voted on it, and it sucks. But like I said, hopefully we figured it out, and going forward, it won't be a problem. that we can't fix at least. So that's gonna pretty much do it. I don't know. Do you have anything else to say?
Oh, I'm really excited about seeing Aliens. That's
Aliens,
the second one.
yeah.
I'm really excited about seeing Aliens. Alien left me with a lot of questions, especially about this mysterious company that has supposedly funded this whole thing. I'm assuming that they will go in depth with that. Maybe not with the next movie, but a few movies from now. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming that they'll probably do something with that, so I'm pretty stoked about that. As far as anything else, let's get started. This is exciting.
Dude, it's
Yay.
awesome.
Aliens.
I don't, of my personal friends, I don't think I have any friend that has not seen at least one of the Alien movies, even if it's out of order. When you said to me, I've never seen any of the Alien movies, I've never seen any of the Predator movies,
oh, yeah,
I was like, oh my god, it's like Christmas in in October.
Well, I've always been scared of scary movies, and it wasn't until I got with you that that I really started watching. And delving into scary movies per se. So I attribute I attribute you to all that. So, but I am excited that I'm able to share that with you, and I'm able to actually watch something that I know is beloved by a lot of my own friends.
Right.
I know a lot of people that I know.
Pretty much all of us.
That love the Alien franchise, that think it's amazing. I can see why people think it's amazing. I know the special effects are going to get even better with the more movies that we watch, for sure. So I'm pretty stoked about that. And I know that there's I think there's an Alien versus Predator or something at some point that's supposed to be pretty cool.
Yeah, we'll get there.
So I mean, I'm sure that's a while away. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited about everything to come. So
sweet. Well, you guys heard it here first. She's excited. I'm excited. I'm sure you're excited. Remember, if you're not a subscriber currently and you enjoy what you see, please consider subscribing. It'll help me out a ton. Remember to share, like, comment this video, and I will see you guys really, really soon. Let's go watch Aliens. Catch you guys later.